testing microphone. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Man, we had this exact same problem recording the last podcast. And what's funny is it's actually just, I've got a monitor up here with a camera on it, and then my Mac is down here, and it's my monitor on my Mac and the camera on it. And then I've got this really fancy microphone. And I don't know, for some reason it just turns that all off every once in a while. It just says, it's not going to work anymore.
Too complicated.
You know, we have heard this problem over and over again with devices, clients, etc. And yet we continue to not fix the problem. I guess what I need is Chromebox for Hangouts.
You keep saying that too.
Well, that's the key, right? To a system, you have to buy in 100% to get all of the benefits. Thus, the beauty of Microsoft's selling for the last how many years, and Apple's how many years to come.
Exactly.
So, welcome to Hacking Business Technology, the podcast that just tries to stay focused. It has a hard time. I'm not sure where that comes from. I blame the culture. Welcome. Mark's at a new place. Congratulations,
hello, yeah.
Mark. How was the moving? Any books?
It's still undergoing. Yes, so many books. It was ridiculous. And this room I'm in right now came with stripes, so not sure what to do with that. But it will be the Zen meditation, prayer, quiet, focusing, no electronics allowed space. So I'm doing the hangout here while I still can before it becomes off limits.
You are christening the room before it becomes taboo to do so, right?
Yes, exactly.
Interesting. That's kind of cool. I would love to see how many people actually put that kind of stuff in their house. I mean, of course, everyone has to find respite somehow. Some people do it on the commute, on the way to work. Some people do it anywhere. But that's interesting that you say no technology. There is some technology. You've got heating.
Yes, that is true. And I intend to have an electronic fountain. So.
Nice. It's good to have the sound of water, but I get what you mean. It's a no interruption zone.
Yeah.
Just hold your hands above your head.
Like a limit of one book at a time, kind of a thing as well. You know?
Huh. That'll also keep the room really neat.
Yes.
Alexa is out of stock, so you can't invite Alexa to your Zen meditation den. We were trying to order one today as a gift, as a giveaway, and they're out of stock, which is interesting, right? I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
They know how many people are looking at it. They know how many people want it, but yet they don't get the pipeline right. That's product manufacturing for you, baby.
Yeah, and they have different models now too, so
it's more confusing, especially on eBay, man.
Oh, wow.
Right? And when Amazon is out of stock, where's the next place you go?
Yes. It's an interesting device. I've wanted one for a while, so let me know how it goes.
We really do need to boycott Amazon, though. They're going to take over the world. So Captain America comes out this weekend. I don't know if you're a nerd, but a lot of nerds are really excited about it. Comic Book Saturday is also this weekend, so go out and get your free comics.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't really gotten into the Marvel scene yet.
Oh, you're a DC guy.
Yeah.
So I like what you posted on Slack. Specifically, there's 2 points that really resonated with me. You talked about, you sort of put companies into 2 categories, or 3 categories. Those that have ITSM constraints, those that don't have ITSM constraints have shed them. And then companies that just don't have them, or we don't know what they have. I think it's an interesting point. And then you actually, I like what you did is you said, okay, well, I'd like to hear specific examples. How does Amazon and Spotify keep controls in place, but still enable the agility?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I've been thinking about is obviously the companies that are most agile and especially the companies who are really one with their business and are enabling business technology, do they have controls in place? Obviously, you have to. I mean, if you're agile and you're doing DevOps type things, then it's all about control to a certain degree, which is also what service management is about. And yet, some of these companies, I imagine, don't even know what service management is or care. And if you talk about the controls they have, are they the same types of controls that traditional shops have, and probably using service management practices? I don't know. But the reason that's interesting to me is because you've got these traditional companies that so much service management is embedded in, and they're trying to become more agile, and they're trying to partner with the business more. And I'm not really sure what that means. Is it a mixture of agile and service management, or is it really just ditching service management and going with something else? I mean, yeah.
The way I like to think about it is like slow firefighting, right? Like if you ever worked in a shop that didn't have good automation or good procedure process or whatever, you know what I'm talking about when I say firefighting. You're just getting stuff done.
Yeah.
In the worst possible way, and sometimes that is a literal phrase.
Yeah.
And so I think about like what you can design a system for a term I've heard coined by specific companies who won't be named, compliance at speed. I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Usually when I think about that topic, I think, how do we get things, there's always a threshold. The beautiful thing about compliance is a lot of times it can be black and white. We can do this, we can't do that. We can do it when we are PCI compliant, we have to process transactions in this specific way.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to have that black and white, or even in the gray situations, the best way to add efficiency is to automate it.
Of course, right.
And I think as long as you get to that point, compliance at speed, you can just improve it from there. And I think this is where a lot of service management people are going for their careers.
Yeah. Well, it's not just compliance; it's reducing risk, right? So
reducing risk, increasing value. It's just aligning to your objectives.
So, like, let's say there's a traditional shop and they have a risk level, whatever their highest risk level change is set at 3 or 4 weeks lead time. Okay, that's typical, right? Yeah. That can't happen in a truly business-focused, innovative, agile shop. And where does that 3 or 4 weeks come from? Is that based on business requirement? Probably not.
Right. Yeah, it probably isn't.
So, I mean, you're already failing the business in that regard. So what if as a service management consultant, you were hired to make improvements and bring that from 3 weeks to 1 day? Can you even call that service management to disrupt that that amount of time? I mean, I think you would have to use automation, obviously.
Well, you push the governance upstream.
Right.
And what it does is it means there's less people involved.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I have heard this use case at some company where a project starts in one system, whether it's an ideation form or SharePoint or Mariner or some PMO application, or even just a request portal. And what happens is as that request actually gets fulfilled, as that project changes and releases and requests actually get fulfilled, each one of them is done in a separate system and with separate data, and they each have their own governance checkpoints. And I think just understanding how that works is sort of just the beginning. And then it becomes about system design from there. You push it upstream and you design a system such that let's say in change management, you can't restart a server without the service owner okaying it, let's say, if it causes downtime or a degradation of service. Degradation of service, the service delivery manager has to respond within 6 hours, and if it's a downtime, they have to respond within an hour, or something like that. So then what they do is they push a notification to that person, and it says, okay, do you approve this request, yes or no? And then once they approve it, then the user who submitted the change, or the change then goes to, I don't know, some group, emergency cab, let's say. And they all have to approve it, or one person, or the first person has to approve that, whatever. We're on this dance. Once that's approved, then they go over to another system and they reboot it. Or they have to do an architecture request or an architecture review, or maybe they need to assemble a team to put it together. And what I'm saying is, design the system so that it doesn't matter.
Right.
So that you know, if you're trying to just restart a server, you should make it that the service never degrades.
Right. Yeah.
Because then you don't have to get that approval. And why is that approval in place? I think that's probably a poor use case now that I think about it. But the key is you can't wait for people.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an eerie thing to say.
No, I totally get it. And so the key there is service management, again, is not the answer. Technology is the answer, right?
Well, no, yes and no.
Yeah.
Right? It's technology paired with like this discipline to desire that end state, that is the hump to get over. Because once that desire to change it is ingrained in your culture, then people will just move. You will get there. You have to get there because the SharePoint guy doesn't want to be written out of a job, because the Mariner guy doesn't want to be written out of a job. You got to move. You got to get it done.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so culture's in the way a lot of times, but the eventual answer has to come from a system, or because it can do it so much faster and risk-free than people can.
Or a series of systems. I would argue it's going to be a series of systems no matter what. But yes.
Right.
Yeah. And those people that manage the systems today, they will need to manage the system of tomorrow. I mean, it's beautiful to think that a RESTful API call from one system to the next is always going to work, but that isn't the case. And, it really... It's sad to say, but it all comes down to architecture and the decisions you made in your past. Because if you haven't chosen open systems that talk to each other and you can customize how you need them to while still keeping you compliant, this dream cannot be realized. Boom!
So I think that's the crux of the problem with traditional companies then, is that they've always seen service management as the answer. People is the problem. People are the ones who cause errors. We need to tighten up, we're talking Six Sigma or Lean or all those types of things mixed with service management, processes, workflows, all that kind of thing. It can always be solved that way, but it can't. I mean, you run into a people limitation. And if you want to be what the business needs, you have to get past thinking that service management can answer the question for you or fix the problem.
Yes. Look for the answer to the problem, not the batch of answers. Don't look for the book. Look for the snippet. Look for the exact thing you need. It's not going to be in a framework every time, but sometimes it will be. And definitely look at COVID, because there's lots of them in there. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, but I think you're right to point out request. I think request and change are two of the areas that companies get just stuck in.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do change management good enough for what the business needs today. You're just not. You're not going to be able to do request fulfillment good enough.
No.
I mean, the answer isn't to get the right approvals so that you've covered your ass. That's not the answer. The answer is to not need the approvals anymore because the system is so good.
That's a tweet. Okay, so for those of you who usually watch the show, you'll see I've increased my coffee intake from a little glass to a pint. Yeah, but I think that's kind of where we're headed. And then the beautiful thing is, everyone worries about this stuff. They think about job displacement and all that. And yet today, people were recounting at work all the great customer service stories they have recently, like calling, what were the examples? Nest and There was some other modernish company that you call their support line and a person picks up. And it's not like, it's like when you're calling someone's house, you hear it ring 6 times and boom.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Every call center employee and leader and owner and operator would just, that is their dream.
No, but I mean, what you said before, there is no risk of losing jobs. They're just changing. I mean, I truly believe that. If you fully automate changes and requests and don't need to wait on people, then all of those people can be put to work coming up with new innovative solutions that can be implemented on that framework. And so the types of things you're implementing and innovating on can increase tenfold.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the huge disruption comes around other industries. Man, I was thinking about drones the other day. Everyone who's got an inspection job, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like where you, like, let's say you inspect bridges over dangerous freeways. Wow. Yeah. Talk about a terrible job now that I think about it. And thank you for doing it because you're keeping us safe. I live in Minnesota, so bridges falling are a real fear for me.
Oh, boy.
And so, yeah, may the rest in peace. And so that drone, you know, it can go out an overpass, check out all the concrete under the bridge really fast. It can do a 3D image where you can pick it apart later and it's already stored there for auditing. Drone falls on the ground, car runs it over, no one cares.
Mm-hmm.
Well, someone in finance cares.
Right.
The person whose Maserati it hit, they care.
Mm-hmm.
But those inspection jobs, and then I think anyone who's over the road transportation, because obviously self-driving cars are on their way. Right.
But of course, any money you're saving on inspections can be put back into R&D or innovation for new types of bridges or manufacturing bridges in a more efficient way or what have you. Different types of jobs.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope that someday the computers aren't just waiting for us to get going. But yeah, innovation. So what do you think? Did we discuss this well? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still curious about what the most innovative and agile companies are doing today, and if they care about service management or ITIL or anything like that at all. I mean, if I was hired as an ITSM consultant to go into Amazon or Spotify or somewhere like that today, what would I be able to offer them? I don't know. You know, that's an interesting question to me is what are the needs of truly innovative companies in terms of service management? And there's a dog barking. You're on mute. Matt.
Yeah, I thought I clicked it. I didn't click it. Yeah, that is interesting. I think that's the best way to phrase it too, actually. You know what? You know what they need from service management? Ideas. They're just looking for ideas.
Yeah.
You know? And you find them everywhere. You find them at conferences. You can find them by talking to anyone. Or by taking a bike ride and you see something and you say, oh, yeah, that's the way that we should be operating. Or that's the way we can actually be compliant and still innovate. Or that's how I can fix Susie's laptop. I'm going to replace the motherboard.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
You have to look for it everywhere.
I just can't imagine that at Google or somewhere like that they ever replace motherboards. There's just no way.
Well, they do, but it's just field services and it's automated. You know?
Yeah.
An alert gets triggered that goes to a log file, that goes to a log file aggregator, that goes to task management, to automation, to request management, to change management, which goes actually to probably a contract to field service management, who sends out an electrical engineer who goes out to the data center during a change period where it's okay to take out that motherboard or machine, and then And then it takes forever, dude. Compliant data centers, to pull a computer out of a compliant data center, it takes you like all night.
Yeah, I thought you meant on the laptop side of things, on the personal device side of things. But yeah, in a data center, yeah, obviously. But they can take as long as they want because they can pull, you know, lots of hardware out of commission without it affecting anything, right?
Yes. When you have solved the scale equation. However, that doesn't seem to be the case. Who was it? Someone put a quantum computer out for everyone to use. Was it IBM? I think it's IBM.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means exactly. I don't know who's logging on to it, but I would love to SSH into that sucker. I would play Pong. Twice.
Yeah, in like 8K resolution.
Man. Yeah, so I just actually wrote a paper in conjunction with some other people on compliance at speed. It was focused, we actually do this strange kind of marketing where we study a company and then we send them information about themselves.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is incredible to do and frighteningly effective. And it was about compliance at speed. And so I'll try and, you know, rewrite it without their name all over it and see if we've got something.
I would like that for my personal life. You know, just hire some sort of psychological investigator to follow me around and then give me a report.
Yes, please. Yeah, I suppose that's the marketing of the future. Isn't that what Facebook is doing?
That is so true.
Right? They're looking at what you post and they're saying, oh, he's feeling sad. Well, let's show him his Amazon cart. Retargeting is a beautiful thing. But that is how you hack business technology. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.